Purpose of this video is to walk you through how to do steps 1 and 2 of your writing portfolio reflection. I've opened up my writing portfolio reflection doc, and I've also made you a student exemplar of this entire document so that you can get a sense of how another student would approach this same reflection. So I'm going to make sure I have that tab open, so click on that. You should have two tabs open: the writing portfolio reflection and the student exemplar of the same portfolio reflection. Now that you've got these two tabs open, you're going to first delete this text and write your first and last name here so that we know it's your portfolio reflection. Part 1 of your writing portfolio reflection is going to ask you to use the LPS Writing 6-point rubric. We've looked at a pretty simplified version of the rubric earlier in class today. I'm going to ask you to look at a more specific and more detailed version of the 6-point writing rubric in order to do part 1. So the directions say to review the LPS 6-point writing rubric. So I'm going to open that up. At this point, you should only have 3 tabs open. That's the writing portfolio reflection, the 6-point rubric, and the exemplar of the writing portfolio reflection. Okay, so now I'm looking at the rubric. I see that there are 6 different strands, or 7 different strands, which we talked about at the beginning of the school year. This is a really detailed rubric, much more detailed than the one that we just looked at. We're going to be using this more detailed rubric in order to do part 1 of the writing portfolio reflection. Here you'll see the rubric strands, the 7 different rubric strands that we just noticed in this longer rubric right here: argument, evidence, commentary, organization, diction, syntax, spelling, and grammar. All of these different strands of rubric are right here as well. Along this way, you'll see the writing skills that we worked on this year. So we worked on inserting quotes correctly. We worked on vocabulary words, incorporating transition words, and we also worked on literary elements, identifying them, knowing how to write good commentary using literary elements. If you need a refresher on any of our writing skills, you can click here and open up that tab. And in this document, you'll see that there are the 4 different skills that we practiced. There's a small explanation of each skill and an example of how to do each skill correctly. For all of these, you can click through these links and get a refresher on what each skill looked like. So if I want to remind myself how to insert quotes, there's a reminder there for you. Same with the vocab words, transition words, and the literary elements. So you can use this document, Writing Skills, to help remind you of what we're exactly talking about right here in the writing portfolio reflection. Okay, on to number 2. Then I'm going to choose 3 skills below, and for each skill, I'm going to write 1 to 2 sentences in that box explaining why this skill fits in that particular rubric strand. So I'm going to choose 3. There's 4. I'm going to choose 3. So I'm going to choose 3. And I'm going to write 1 to 2 sentences in that box explaining why this skill fits in this rubric strand. So why does literary elements fit in the argument strand? I'm going to explain that. So I'm going to show you in the student exemplar what that looks like. I've given a 1 to 2 sentence explanation right here. Literary elements belongs in the argument strand because we use literary elements to build our arguments and thesis statements for our style analysis essays. So I'm remembering that I use literary elements to build my argument in my style analysis essay. Great, so that sentence, that's just one sentence that's in there. Done, part A. And then part B, I'm going to paste an example of the time I use that skill in my writing. So since I talked about my style analysis essay, I'm going to pull this example from my style analysis essay where I used literary elements in my argument. So I've said Shirley Jackson's usage of imagery, that's a literary element, and irony, that's another literary element, show the theme that no matter how innocent something looks, don't judge a book by its cover. So I'm working on the argument strand of the rubric while practicing my writing skill of literary elements. You can pull examples from your writing from the personal writing folder that I've just given you, or you can also find your writing here. So if I'm in period 1, I'm going to click here. And this has all of the major writing assignments that I've done this year on these different sheets. So if I'm Gerald and I'm looking for my Unit 4 style analysis essay, I'm going to look through here. I'm going to keep going. Okay, I found my I found my poetic analysis essay. Here I am. I'm going to click that document so that I can find an example, and I can copy and paste something from my essay into this example here. So I'm going to do that with 3 skills. So I've chosen to do literary elements, inserting quotes, and transition words. We just need 3 different writing skills. So you're just going to choose 3 of any of the purple boxes and explain why this writing skill, in this case transition words, fits into organization, how transition words help me to organize my essay, and an example of you using that correctly from your writing. These can come from any of your writing assignments this year. So from any of the different writing essays that we did. This is the end of part 1. I'm going to go back here now to part 2. Part 2, now and then, is asking you simply to copy and paste one paragraph from semester 1. So I'm going to use this again, this year-long writing document again, to find something from semester 1. So my first writing assignment that I did, so my reflective narrative. I'm going to choose a paragraph from there. I'm going to paste that right into semester 1. And then I'm going to go back into the year-long writing document, copy and paste one paragraph from semester 2 in this box right here. So semester 2, that's everything after unit 3. So maybe I want to use my timed write. I'm going to click on my document, my essay, choose one paragraph, put that into semester 2. When you're finished with a copy and paste, it should look something like this. An example of your writing from semester 1 and an example of your writing from semester 2. Part 2 is asking you to analyze what's so great about semester 1 and then what's even better about semester 2. You should see a difference between semester 1 and semester 2. We're looking closely at just one paragraph of our writing from semester 1 and semester 2 in order to get a clear sense of how we've improved in our writing and what specific skills we still need work on. This is a good brainstorm for our writing portfolio letter that we'll do at the end of this week. Once you're finished with part 2, you're going to just stop and we'll move on to parts 3 and 4 later this week.